Welcome to the Depth Dive. We're here to cut through the noise, sift through the sources, and get straight to the insights you need. Today, we're plunging into something that's, well, both pretty fascinating and, frankly, quite concerning. We're talking about getting that perfect tan, not from the sun, but from an injection. We are taking a deep dive into tanning injections, specifically these things called Melanotan, our mission to unpack what they are, how they work, the really serious health risks, and then our sources push us to connect this drive to change how we look to bigger questions.
Questions about identity, social pressures, even the concept of race itself. We've pulled from a real mix of stuff for you, medical warnings, academic papers, even online chats. So a full picture. Okay, let's get into it.
It's definitely a complex area, and to really get a handle on these injections, we kind of have to start with the basics, how our skin works naturally.
Right. Okay, so before the injections, just walk us through natural tanning. How does that happen? What's the process? Absolutely. So natural tanning, that's basically your skin's defense system kicking in. When you're exposed to UV radiation, ultraviolet light from the sun or a tanning bed, your skin starts this darkening process. It's purely protective. Your body senses potential damage from the UV rays and says, okay, shields up.
Shield up. And what are those shields made of? What's the key thing here?
Melanin. That's the absolute star. It's
Yeah.
the pigment, the stuff that gives color to our skin, our hair, our eyes. Generally, yeah, more melanin means darker skin. And the main type in humans is called eumelanin. But it's not just about color. Critically, melanin is like your built-in sunscreen. It absorbs and scatters that harmful UV radiation, protecting your cells. It even helps with other environmental stresses. And what's really striking, if you look globally, is how skin color differences often reflect adaptation. It's like over long periods, populations adapted to different sunlight levels. More sun, more protective eumelanin. Less sun, lighter skin to help make vitamin D melanin,
Wow.
that key photoprotectant in our evolutionary history. It's pretty amazing.
It really is incredible how the body adapts. But like you said, people are now trying to sort of hack that process, right? Our source talk about melanotan the third and melanotan the second. What exactly are these? Why call them unregulated synthetic hormones?
Right, so they are synthetic lab-made, not natural. And they're designed to, well, force tanning. They're artificial versions of a natural hormone messenger in your body, the alpha-melanocyte-stimulating hormone, or MSH.
Okay, MSH?
Yeah. Normally, your body makes no MSH when you get sun exposure, and that tells your skin cells, okay, make melanin.
Mm-hmm.
These injections, though, they just flood your system with a synthetic version of that signal. It gets injected, finds these docking stations, melanocortin receptors on your skin cells, and binds to them. And when it docks, it sends this super strong signal, produce melanin, lots of it now.
Yeah.
No way.
So while, some darkening might happen anyway with sun, these injections plus UV exposure together, it massively ramps up the effect. It's like forcing the tanning mechanism into serious overdrive. Wow. So yeah, artificially flipping a switch that's usually much more controlled. And these shortcuts, as you mentioned, and our sources really hammer home, come with some really stark warnings.
From major health bodies, right?
Precisely. And the risks are exactly why authorities like the FDA in the US, the MHRA in the UK, Cancer Research UK, they've all issued these really strong warnings, unequivocal, really. They're seeing a truly alarming list of specific, severe health problems tied to melanotan.
Okay, so what are the big ones? The main dangers people absolutely need to know about.
The primary concern, and honestly the scariest, is the higher risk of cancer, specifically melanoma.
The deadliest skin cancer.
Exactly. Melanotan can make skin cells grow abnormally, proliferate in ways they shouldn't, and there are actual case reports, documented instances of melanomas popping up in existing moles right after someone started using melanotan.
That's terrifying. A mole you've always had suddenly turning cancerous. Yeah. And beyond new cancers, it makes existing moles darker, causes new ones to appear, which just makes monitoring your skin incredibly difficult. Dermatologists struggle to tell what's a drug effect and what might be early cancer. It masks the danger signs.
Okay, so cancer risk, difficulty monitoring skin health. What else?
Well, then there's the whole issue of systemic effects and contamination. Because these things are sold illegally, there's zero oversight. Zero. That means the vials might be mislabeled wrong drug, wrong dose, or worse, contain dangerous contaminants, heavy metals, bacteria, who knows? You literally have no idea what you're injecting or how safely it was made. The risk from unknown junk in there is huge.
Just injecting mystery substances.
Pretty much. And the specific reported side effects go on. For men, melanotan II can cause priapism that's painful, prolonged erections need medical help. We found one really concerning case study. A guy got acute priapism, needed an intervention, and then had lasting erectile dysfunction, a permanent consequence.
Yo.
Yeah. And then there are reports of increased blood pressure, heart issues, even seizures, kidney damage. And even if you dodge those bullets, many users just feel awful. Nausea, vomiting, facial flushing, losing their appetite, flu-like symptoms. It's,
Yeah.
it's a real laundry list of bad
It
news.
really is. A sobering list that just underscores why it's so critical we repeat. Melanotan injections are not FDA approved for tanning, not for general use. It's about safety.
Absolutely crucial distinction. The sale, the supply, it's illegal in many places, including the US and UK.
Yeah.
And, sometimes people get confused because there is a substance called afamelanotide.
Which is melanotan,
It's a form of it,
Okay.
yes. Afamelanotide IS, FDA approved, but, and this is the key part, only for treating a very specific, very rare genetic light sensitivity disorder, erythropoietic protoporphyria.
Okay. Very niche medical use.
Exactly, under strict medical supervision. That approval absolutely does not carry over to cosmetic tanning.
Hmm.
The stuff people buy online for a tan, that's the unregulated illicit market. No quality control, no safety tests, just significant potential harm.
Okay. So the physical dangers are incredibly clear, incredibly serious. But these risks, they force a deeper question, don't they? Why? What drives people to take such extreme measures for a certain look? This isn't just skin deep anymore, is it? It's about digging into identity, society.
That's a really important shift. And yeah, our sources go there. This powerful urge to change appearance. It often connects to bigger societal currents, things like lookism, basically, discrimination based on looks, and colorism.
Colorism that's within the same racial group, right? Discrimination based on skin tone.
Exactly. And its impact can be really potent, really insidious. Sources mention, for instance, the historical brown paper bag test in some Black American communities, where, having sin lighter than a paper bag gave you access or status. It shows how skin tone creates these internal hierarchies, these intense pressures, even within a group facing external racism.
That's a powerful, sad example, and sources describe this drive as like a deep human need to make the outside match the inside, to align physical appearance with a sense of self or belonging.
Precisely. It's not always just vanity. The motivations are super diverse, really personal. It might stem from trauma or intense pressure to fit in, or sometimes, yeah, a genuine deep fascination with another culture. Sources point to people making all sorts of changes: hair dye, makeup, yes, tanning, but also major cosmetic surgery, all trying to express what they feel is their true racial or cultural identity, sometimes called racial cultural transference adoption, or RCTA.
RCTA, okay.
And you see public examples like Ollie London wanting to look Korean, identifying as Korean after many surgeries, or Martina Big, a white woman identifying as Black, undergoing extreme procedures to darken skin, change body shape. These cases, however you view them, show this powerful internal drive some people feel to match their body to their identity.
And this is where it gets really complex, really debated. A lot of sources draw this parallel, a very contested one, between transracial and transgender identities, using this argument from similarity, basically saying, if society increasingly accepts gender identity as internal, maybe fluid, then why not race? Logically speaking.
That's the crux of a huge debate. And it's vital we just lay out the counter-arguments from the sources, staying impartial. Critics raise several key distinctions. First, the historical weight of racial oppression. It's uniquely intergenerational. Think about things like slavery's legacy, or the Canadian residential schools for Indigenous kids, that deep, shared history of systemic harm, trauma, disadvantage. It shapes collective identity in a specific way.
A different kind of historical burden than gender, maybe.
Yeah, that's the argument, yeah.
Yeah.
Critics say that makes race fundamentally different. Then there's the biology debate. Some sources suggest gender identity might have some biological links, which makes comparing it to race now largely seen as a social construct, not biological destiny tricky.
Right, the social construct idea.
Exactly. Plus, race is often described as a much more closely policed category than gender. Think about civil rights history, legal battles tied specifically to race. So critics worry that embracing racial fluidity could undermine movements fighting racial injustice based on those shared histories and experiences.
Okay.
There's a significant critique around privilege. Specifically, the idea that white individuals transitioning to another race might be seen as exercising white privilege, sort of trying on an identity without ever facing the systemic discrimination or historical baggage that comes with being born into that group.
That's a heavy point.
It is. And tied to that are strong concerns about cultural appropriation, trivializing lived experiences, reducing complex cultures often forged through real struggle down to just an aesthetic choice like a costume.
So, wrapping our heads around this, it's clearly not about saying who's right or wrong about their identity. It's more about understanding all these different viewpoints, right? The tension between individual feelings and societal impact, and the very different histories involved.
Exactly. It's incredibly complex territory. Our sources show there are just no simple answers here.
So, today we've really covered some ground. Started with the very real, very scary dangers of unregulated tanning injections like melanotan. And we journeyed from there into these deep societal questions about why people change their appearance, what that means for identity, beauty, and race.
Yeah, and we've seen this recurring theme. Science increasingly tells us race is more social construct than fixed biology, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, the social consequences of race, historical and present day, are intensely real. Discrimination, inequality, lived experience, those are undeniable. So this desire to change appearance, whether it's for a tan or something deeper, it really forces us, forces us to grapple with ethics, society, personal feelings. It shows how personal desires bump up against and challenge our collective ideas of who we are and who we can be.
Definitely a lot to think about. And as we finish this deep dive, here's one last thought to leave you with. Imagine a future. Advanced tech, maybe sophisticated gene editing, allows people to truly, seamlessly change physical traits to match any racial identity they choose. Would that technology lead us to a more just world, more understanding, more freedom? Or could it, maybe unintentionally, create entirely new kinds of division, new inequalities we haven't even thought of yet?